Okay, this is a big episode, and in my mind, my first thought is perfection and thoroughness and making sure that I'm getting into every single corner of the room of this. But I'm taking that pressure off because in the spirit of this episode, I am talking about feeling safe in my body and feeling joy and presence in my body. A little bit about my journey and how I've gotten to this place, where it started, where it's going, and how it's affected my life, and how you can do it too. I can't wait to share this with you. So, for most of my life, if I'm looking back in comparison to how I feel now, maybe since I was a child, I had glimmers of this pre-pubescently when I would just be myself and be a kid and have fun before there were more rules imposed upon me and those hormones hit. And I started feeling even more anxiety and started dealing with depression in my teenage years. I that means I went through about 2 decades or so of not feeling safe in my body and not feeling joy in my body for the most part. Of course, there were exceptions to that, but I grew up in a religious culture where it was more about making sure that you're doing everything right, which required a lot of scanning and analyzing. There was a lot of fear-based belief systems around whether you would be condemned forever and be burning in hell with eternal pain, or doing the right things and having eternal joy if this one being allowed you to. So there's a lot of things to unpack there, which I won't go into. And there were also, after coming out, there were times in my life, lots of times in my life, socially not feeling safe, not just in public, but also with people who were close to me, my close attachment figures. And then there's also the huge factor of an eating disorder. And although it is mental and it is social, it is biological as well. And there are genetic factors that are involved. So I'm not going to go into that either. It's a complex disorder, but it is safe to say I did not feel safe in my body, especially around how it looked, how I ate, and how I moved. So I'm going to bring that all together. I think there were a few factors that really pulled me towards wanting to feel better. One of them was reaching burnout in my business around 2021, where I had been working pretty nonstop without I wouldn't take days off. I wouldn't take days off. And when I did work, I would work full days. I felt so much responsibility as a business owner. And after about a year and a half of doing that, I reached burnout. Like I was burnt out and I had to, probably even before then, but like it got to the point where I was like crashing. There are also things going on in my personal life, financially, so many big things that were going on in my life around then, 2021 to 2022, a few years ago, where I just reached a low point. I was having breakdowns. I remember uncontrollably sobbing. I remember trying to sit at my desk and focus, and my brain would just turn off, and I couldn't function well. Thankfully, I went into therapy. So I had a really low point in my life around that time, and things have gotten better since then and continue to do so. But reaching that level of burnout made me realize there's got to be a better way. Like I know that this work harder, work harder, work harder does not work. And that was how I functioned a lot. Like when I was in college, I would wake up, you could ask my roommates at the time, I would wake up before 5 a.m. or 5 a.m. to go run. And then I would have a full day of classes and studying. I was an overachiever. I got straight A's except for one class because I took on too much of a class load. One semester I got a D. But besides that, all A's. I never saw a B or a C or a D. I was an overachiever. I worked hard. I was involved with everything, just to give you a picture and of my past and my history. So I know what it's like to be like, just go, 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 go. This was also the model that was displayed to me. There's value in sacrifice, there's value in pain, even pain equals love, according to, the religion I grew up in. God kills his own son for the sake of others. Like, how much more sacrificial can you get? All of this, pain equals love. And I've had to really, really undo so much of this. So reaching that point of burnout made me realize, okay, so this doesn't work. If I want to continue my business, if I want to continue like my work and my life, like, how do I find a different way? And it was a process. It wasn't like a one and done thing, which would have been nice. And my brain in that time was like, there's a secret hack for everything. And if you just find that secret hack, everything is going to unlock and it's going to be great. But that didn't work. It was a really long process and it took a long time for my body to heal. And I'll talk about that, what I did. The other thing that was very motivating, and I will say this is more recent, like after that burnout period, was learning about manifestation. And that's a big word and there's so much tied to it, but I got obsessed, especially when I started being in the business world, like when I was responsible for my income, when I was responsible for, the results I got, as opposed to just getting a salary every month for showing up to work a certain amount of hours and completing certain tasks. Things were on me. So I got kind of obsessed with the idea that I could create my life, I could create my reality, I could choose different things. And of course, there are extremes to this. And I think the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle. There are things that we can't absolutely control, and there are things that we can't control. And accepting both of those is this dialectical place that is both and. So that's the conclusion I made. But I got obsessed with manifestation. So I was like, how do I do this? And so many of the things was like that I heard. I've read so many books. I've listened to so many podcasts. Believe me, I have. I've followed so many teachers because I've just been fascinated. And I'm someone, if I get into something, like, I'm all in. So manifestation, and so much of it has been. And as I've evolved and learned more, I'm getting this more and more. And I'm going to share a little bit. I'm just talking about what spurred me into wanting to feel more safe and joy in my body. The manifestation part, so much of it is feeling like you're already there, or feeling safe enough to receive instead of pushing, and allowing and trusting. And those were things and concepts that were foreign to my body. I was always used to, even with great example is, exercise and food. If you want something, you got to push harder. And this was the first big lesson of, feeling more safe and joy in my body, was the food and aspect part, if I'm going even way back to my eating disorder. So I had seen it happen in my life, but in other areas of my life, I had it. Anyways, so letting go instead of controlling and forcing and pushing, that doesn't work. How do you kind of trust more and allow more while also having intention and choice? It's a lot. It's a lot. So all of these factors, my eating disorder, burnout, and then manifestation, all of these factors contributed to me wanting to know how to feel safe in my body, how to feel joy in my body. At some point, when you have been miserable for so long in your body, and I'm talking about my eating disorder and even my hustle mindset with work, you get tired and you're like, this ain't it anymore. And you just want to feel good in your body. So much of my life is really centered around, how do I live the life that I desire and enjoy it? Someone asked me last night, I ended up for somehow going from a work event to a gay bar and meeting some cool people. and talking about our purpose in life. Okay, that was my night last night over shots. And one person asked the question, what is your purpose in life? And I just answered, to enjoy my life, to have joy, be myself. And that was it. Like that was, it came out so easily, and it was just like to enjoy my life and to be myself. Like that, those feel like my, it might change, it has changed, but like, how do you feel good? How do you live the life that you desire with the people that you love, with the ways that you want to enjoy your life? Being yourself, feeling safe in your body. I've experienced enough tightness, enough misery, enough pain, enough sacrifice, enough difficulty, and enough challenges where I desire joy is so important to me. Freedom is so important to me. Desire and ease. And that doesn't mean that it's without challenges, because I love a good challenge. There's a difference between easy, hard, and hard. I'm down for the easy hard, where it's challenging, but you're growing and you're learning. The hard is when you're making things harder on yourself unnecessarily. It's like the Buddhist second arrow. You can get shot by an arrow, right? In Buddhist philosophy, there's this idea. You get shot by an arrow, but but you often make it harder for yourself by shooting yourself in the arrow the second time, by framing unhelpful stories or having unhelpful thoughts or thinking that you have to be in pain in order to earn something. These are all the second arrows. Suffering is a part of life, and I'm not denying that, and it actually can be a useful tool and helpful lessons that we can learn. I think it depends on where you're coming from. If you've lived a really cushy, kind of relatively easy life, maybe more challenges would be helpful for you. But if you've lived a life where you've gone through a lot of shit, let's say, safety and joy and consistency, stability, peace, contentment, presence, connection, all these things, happiness, all those love, all those things sound more appealing. Maybe. Okay. So that's how it started. This is what it took for me to go from that extreme place of, just really being super activated. Now that I understand my nervous system, I was always in like a really activated place. I was sometimes in that window of capacity. I talked about this in a couple episodes before about the nervous system. I was sometimes in that window of capacity where I was able to connect, but I don't think I was often there. Looking back, especially like around the time of when I came out and I felt very rejected by my community and my family, and that was a really challenging time. Or if I go back to the time where, I was in burnout with my business, I was definitely not in that window of capacity. I was very stressed, extreme, like survival mode, constant stress. So for about 20 years, I would say I was not in a safe place. So that means that I had to take, and I'm not saying that I'm like completely there, but I feel like I'm so much closer. So this is what it took to get there. And I will tell you, this is the 4-H method. I'm explaining basically the 4-H method, because when it comes to, disordered behaviors around exercise and food, when it comes to feeling unsafe in our bodies and not being present, the key to healing is what I'm going to share with you. And it could be probably encapsulated in 2 words, presence and embodiment. Presence and embodiment. This is the key to healing. And by healing, I'm not just talking about like a bunch of like esoteric woo-woo ideas. I'm talking about like actual health and shifting your relationships with food, with exercise. These are things that I've had to do, and I've not just with food and exercise, but in other areas of my life, and it's all fucking connected. It's presence and embodiment. This is the key. But to do it, you have to want it so badly. You have to want to give up that way of struggle so much that you're willing to do some hard stuff. Remember, easy, hard, hard, hard? This is easy, hard. It's not the hard where you're like suffering and in that story of like things have to be difficult for me, or like if the more I work, the more I'll get, the better results I'll get from working harder, or suffering equals love, or pain equals reward. You have to let go of those stories, and that is easy hard. But it's hard to keep living in it. It's harder to keep living in it than it is to go through the process of giving it up. So presence and embodiment, this is what I teach in my work. This is the 4-H method. This is how you really, 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 really undo so much of the harm that diet and fitness culture has imposed on us. And you get to be in your own body and learn it and decide for it and trust it with food and with exercise. And that is the best gift you could give yourself. That's one of the best gifts you can give yourself. So I invite you, not because you're paying me or you're like doing my way of doing of fitness. It's for you, like to have that presence and embodiment with food and exercise with your body. That is priceless. And I know it works. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it with clients. So come join us in the 4-H method. Like, I really, really want you to have this. And I know that what is there is transformative. Okay. So there as we go. This is what I had to do. And this is what I show you in the 4-H method. And we keep doing it and doing it and doing it. At least a lot of this. Okay, this is what I put it into 1, 2, 3, 4 different things. And it might look, of course, individual to you, but it started with, just like I said, it started with a belief that it was possible to feel better. I had to see it as a possibility before I started pursuing it. So thankfully, I will say someone who helped me, and people are complex, right? I don't like everything about him, and I think he can be, I won't speak negatively. I just don't like everything about him personally. But someone who helped me with the business aspect is James Wedmore. He says, the less I do, the more I make. And he is definitely in this place of flow, and things can be easy. And seeing that as someone who is a multi-million business owner, and seeing him accomplish that and talk about ease and the way that he embodies it as well, gave me hope that it was possible. That I learned this from so many teachers, Denise Dunfield, Chill and Prosper. Like, it doesn't have to be hard. Business doesn't have to be hard. Just like I learned with exercise and food, it doesn't have to be hard. Money doesn't have to be hard. Business doesn't have to be hard. So it started with the possibility of ease. And at first, it felt too good to be true. It felt like, no, that's not the way it works. And I had to go through that process of undoing old beliefs and old stories to kind of like worm up to this idea, almost like I was on this opposite side, like I was a little doggy who had been hurt, and there was a kind human on the other side, and like slowly wormed up to the idea as they gave me little treats and said, hey, you can have this, come closer, until I was like buddy with this human in this analogy, and I was like, yes, pat my belly, let it be easy. So it started with desire and possibility that it could be easy. And so I started to embrace this idea of ease. And I even see it on my wall over here where I'm recording. I have these values. I have growth, love, trust, freedom, joy. And then I added more recently ease, creation, and desire. And under ease, it says, I don't have to be in pain or strain. I allow what I want, because I am abundance, love, goodness, freedom, well-being, worth, power. I enjoy my life creating what I want. I do less work more effectively and focused. I let go of struggle. So that possibility, and let me tell you, if you are on the side of this can't be true, I have to work hard for good things, I have to suffer, just warm up, like being in that room, the scared doggy with the kind human, just warm up. Maybe this person won't hurt me. Maybe it can be easy. And that is what I want to share with you. That's my message to you with fitness and with health. We're so used to this idea of suffering, of controlling, of pushing harder. And I want to invite you to know that it really can be so much easier and feel so much better. And you can get better results through ease with fitness and health. And that's what my work is about. That's what the 4-H method is about. Come, please join us. It's so true. Okay, and then so that was the first thing, like, oh, maybe it can be easy. That just like possibility ding in my brain. The other thing was, and this is, oh my God, this is the hardest thing to do. And we start here in the 4-H method. So warning, if you're not willing to do easy hard and you want to, well, I'm not going to say it like that. That sounds a little bit, yeah, I don't like the way that sounds. I'm going to just say this. It is difficult when you are used to doing, especially with your fitness and your health, which most of us see it as, and we're in that little merry-go-round cycle of like, I either have to chase this goal or I have to maintain this goal in order to feel okay. Resting is the hardest thing to do. Harder than any marathon, harder than any diet, harder than any protocol. It is not hard. It's easy hard, but it is hard. So I had to learn to embrace rest. And in the beginning, after the burnout phase, it was like I didn't have a choice. Like my body shut down, my mind shut down, and I had to go from doing like 12-hour days to doing 2-hour days for work. And that was so hard for me because I tied my worth to my productivity, not even my productivity, but my busyness, my action. And we do this with fitness and health too. It's like we tie our worth to how much we're exercising, how well we're eating, what our bodies look like. And so much of the 4-H method is just ingraining in you your worthiness outside of it. Please come join us. I'm so full of love for this because I know how effective it is. So I'm going to keep inviting you. If you don't want to hear that, you can turn this off. I love you. Goodbye. You are so worthy, and rest is one of the most powerful ways that you can express that. You are so worthy. You are entirely worthy. Nothing can add or take away from it. And rest is one of the most powerful ways you can express that. So when I rested, I had to become okay with space in my life, not filling my calendar, not always having something to do. I had to be okay with nothingness, like just, whoa, I can sit down and look around. And another thing is sleep. I embraced sleep a lot more and did not feel guilty for it because I was a wake up every morning super early, same time. I think it was like 5:55 and then it was 4:56. I would wake up religiously at the same time, no matter how tired I was, no matter what. And I was someone in the past who would like I said in college, like that same mindset of like, I have this huge schedule. I'm gonna wake up early and work out at the expense of sleep, when sleep probably would have been so much better. A lot of things would have been better, but I love myself then. I had to become okay with sleep. So just resting without guilt, resting without guilt. And this is, again, my clients tell me this is the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing to do, but it is so necessary because when you go through that hard, on the other side, it's like you reach this world where there's like rainbows and meadows and birds chirping, or your own version of utopia, whatever that looks like. It's so good. The other thing so ease, believing that there could be ease, rest, and then along with rest, this is kind of a subcategory, is meditation. Um, and it's taken me practice to get to a point where I can lie down for like an hour and a half and be probably like 80 to 90% engaged in the meditation, because there's always, my brain leaves, but I can be present with it. Meditation has been so helpful. And I know it's different for everyone. I would recommend if you feel safe enough to do so. And maybe, again, like I said in that other episode, depending on where your nervous system is, different things will feel good for you. So you can listen to that. But try a minute first. Try a minute of just focusing on your breath without moving. Try with your eyes open or closed, whatever feels safer for you. Or if it's not your breath, maybe it's just the sounds around you. Just try listening. And the more it's a practice, so the more you do it, the easier it gets. But meditation and different forms of meditation, it's just being and it's like being in my body, but also being in my consciousness and in my awareness, which is who we are, is at our, most fundamental level, is we're consciousness. And so becoming like connecting with the observer, and you'll learn. It's such a fun world. It's such a fun world. It's so, 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 so fun. I don't know if you've ever heard meditation described as fun, because it's not always fun. It's the easy hard. It's not the hard. It's hard though. But when you get over it and you get into it, it's like, oh, it's like this whole world opens up to you. It's so exciting. So key to healing, presence, embodiment, these two things. And it works for your fitness and health. It works for manifestation. It works for your work with money, all these things. And how did I get there? Starting with the idea of ease, resting, meditation. And I will add, I talked about this in Meds and Marathons. I'm not going to pretend like everything was easy. Medication helped so much. Like I noticed it's just so much easier to be present. It's so much easier to have a good perspective on things. I'm so grateful for my medication. And that's a really personal thing. So I'm kind of like giving it a little bit of a shout out. But I personally, it's helped me so much. And I will tell you what did not help. I should have maybe started with this. It's fun. Not help. I am a voracious self-help person. I usually read dozens of self-help books a year. Like I love learning about it, and it's not bad. But what did not help wasn't just more books, more self-help, and more effort. It was actually being okay with nothing, being okay with just me, being okay with just being. And that, again, is the 4-H method. You are worthy and powerful already, just as you are right now. And when you get that, oof, 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 and then practicing in it with presence and embodiment, which is through the habits that I show you and I teach you, the 4-H method teaches you, which are so valuable. Come join us for your fitness and your health, for your body. And I want to share with you some signs that I've noticed that I feel safe in my body, that I feel joy in my body. These are some signs for me. I don't know if it's for everyone. I'm sure there are some overlaps, but this is like me being in my window of capacity. One thing that I know I'm doing well is it's easy for me to laugh. And going back to last night with being in the bar, I had two guys on either side of me. They were new friends. They were both great. And they were kind of like keeping track of how many times they got me to laugh, like genuine laugh, because my laugh is really big and I love to laugh and it's big. And they were like, had a mini competition to see who could make me laugh more. But I know that I am safe in my body and I'm feeling joy. I'm with presence and embodiment in my body when I can laugh. The other thing is music. I'm just someone like with my cats, I'll just like start humming, making up songs, like singing on my own. I know that's a good sign. And a huge one is connection with other people. After I grew up very shy, especially when I was a teenager, and I was telling a friend, I would just like observe people a lot and I would kind of stay out of things. I would be in my head. I would write all the time. And even in college, I was super shy until my last year. And after I came out and I felt a lot of rejection and hurt, I didn't want to be around people. I really just didn't feel safe with people. And there's been ups and downs around that, but there were lots of times in my life looking back where I didn't really like people. I didn't want to be around people. And not to say that if you feel this way, then you're in a bad place. I'm not saying that at all, but I think naturally I'm more extroverted and I really enjoy being around people. So a good sign for me is that I easily connect with people. And what is required to do that, I've noticed, is to feel safe in my body and to generally have this sense of trust, of course, with wisdom, because I present in the world as a woman, and I'm a woman of color, and I'm queer, and I've been in places where I'm not that's safe. So like, use your judgment, but in general, trusting that people are safe to connect with, and people are in general positive, and it is possible to have connections with people. And if it doesn't work out, okay, well, that's fine. It's a no. But if it does, like, leaning into that connection, I know, hence ending up in a gay bar last night with talking with strangers. It was wonderful. It was fun. Connection. And then I also notice I trust more. And it's not a blind trust or a denying reality trust. It's a trust that everything is going to work out, as in, even if bad things or negative or difficult things happen, I can deal with it and I will be okay. That it's really a trust in myself and a trust in the universe, or I won't say God, but like the universe or something bigger than me, who organizes things beyond what I can control, that it's going to be ultimately okay. And if it's not okay, I can handle it. Trust. The other sign that I have is like, and this is really huge, this is more recent too, I think the meds help with this a lot, is contentment. Like, I am a chronic, personally, as an Enneagram 4, I always see what's missing. And this has hurt a lot of myself, it's hurt my relationships, it's hurt different areas of my life, my work. But I tend to look at what's missing. There's always something missing. There's always something that could be better. And that goes into the self-help thing. But when I know that I am feeling safe and joyful in my body, there's a sense of contentment of, right now, this is enough. I'm happy. Like, really, to say it very simply, I'm happy. I'm present. I have enough. Life is good. I'm content. So those are some signs, at least for me personally. Maybe you can discover your own, or you can name your own. Maybe you relate to some of mine. And I will share in relationship to exercise and food what I've noticed. And this has been these two areas of my life and my body. These have been places where I've put in a lot more work over time. Like, since my early 20s, I've put a lot of work into healing these parts of me. So they're like long-term things that I've worked on, and it's a part of my work, and I can help you do it too. But some things that I've noticed, some signs that I'm feeling safe and joyful and present and embodied with exercise, with movement, is one. I'll just share a few. It's less about time. It's less about numbers. It's less about even reps. It's less about how much I'm putting in, and it's more about the activity itself. It's more about pleasure. Exercise and movement is more pleasure focused than it is goal focused. Another thing is enjoyment and understanding how exercise works with my body and maintaining a balance. So it's not just like, oh, just do whatever feels good. Just do whatever feels good. That is important, and pleasure. And there may be different periods in your life where you just need to focus on pleasure. But beyond that, also understanding, like the differences between like strength training, cardio, flexibility, and having a balance in your life of those different things. Different kinds of workouts, different ways that your body can move. That is fun. And with food, some signs that I'm healthy with food is so much less strict, because like I was talking with a client the other day, there are no good foods or bad foods, and just being a lot less rigid with how I eat. Another thing is checking in with my body, like what sounds good right now. I do that a lot. Before, it was all about hitting targets and numbers. It doesn't matter what you want or what feels good with your body. But now I'm like, what sounds good to me today? What does my body, how is my gut feeling? What am I craving? And then along with the less strictness is giving myself permission. Giving myself permission to say yes to things, giving myself permission to say no to things. Because when you give yourself permission, this goes for exercise too. When you give yourself permission to say no, you can give yourself permission to say yes, and vice versa. And I've noticed as I've been practicing this presence and safety in my body, going back to the beginning with what motivated me around manifestation, I'm getting it. Like the already being in this state, being in the wish fulfilled. And I'm not going to go into all of manifestation right now. If you are into it, you've probably heard some of these things. And visualizing it and feeling it. In the past, I would rotely say affirmations, but I wasn't feeling it in my body. I wasn't embodying it. I wasn't present with it. It was like, it was all in my head. And it was in a fearful place. Because when it comes to health, when it comes to manifestation, when it comes to somatics, it's all about embodiment. It's all about embodiment. And that's what they say, that's what it means when you talk about becoming. It's not something you force with your mind, although your brain is a powerful tool. It's something you feel, like you become in your body. You feel it so deeply as if it really is already true. So that reality around you feels like, oh, this is secondary. What I'm seeing around me is secondary. What I feel inside is more real than what I'm seeing on the outside. And this is really how you create change and transformation with your health as well. I talk about this, an identity. We can put it in those terms, but it's really about becoming the person and seeing yourself in a certain way. And that starts with acceptance of where you are right now and being honest with yourself about where you want to be. And again, if you want to do this work, this really, really cool, easy, hard work, come join the 4-H method. As of this recording, there are 3 payment options. It's a pay what you can, and you pay what you can. You can honestly pay what you can. It accounts for different levels of privilege and access to resources, because so is health, such as health. It's a socially aware way of doing payments, and it's what I feel good in offering right now at this point in my business. And I would love for you to join at whatever stage you can. And it's worth it. It's worth it. You're worth it. Feeling safe in your body, regardless of whether you do the 4-H method or learn this on your own or with others, please get a lot of teachers, good teachers. I'm so thankful for the teachers in my life, known and unknown. It's so worth it to feel safe in your body. It's so worth it to feel joy in your body. And this is coming from someone who's had an eating disorder, who's been abused, who's been assaulted, who has had so many experiences of not feeling safe in my body. So I'm not saying this from a place, and if you haven't had those experiences, I'm so glad for you. None of us need to have those experiences. We don't need them. But if you are like a lot of us, you have experienced these things, and it is possible to feel safe in your body. It is possible to have ease, and in ease to have better results than you've ever seen with exercise, with food, with your body. I like you, and I love you so much. You are worthy, and you are powerful.